So we're here with Rosita. I'm gonna kind of angle this so she can see all of y'all as well. Rosita Relámpago is her full artist name. Hi, she's joining us from Turkey right now.
Yes.
But she's normally based in Oaxaca City, which is in the south of Mexico on the coast. And she is still, well, I guess no, was our resident. She was actually supposed to be here in the space. She was going to use all of Generator Space as her studio. And then at the end of her residency, she was going to create an exhibition of her work and also mixing it with other artists in Omaha. But because of visa reasons, that didn't work out, unfortunately. So because of that, we organized this group show of 5 different artists, 3 from Mexico and 2 who are based in Omaha, including Maritza, to make a show talking about the issues of crossing borders, issues of mobility, kind of like problems in bureaucracy of the fact that like Mexican artists can't really come to the US as easily as US artists can just easily go to Mexico and take advantage of all the opportunities that they can find in Mexico. And so because Rosita couldn't be here in residence with us, she went up to Mexico City to do her residency, but still in Mexico. And as you guys can see in the room that we're sitting in, it is filled with what Rosita made in just a few weeks, right? In like 3 weeks?
Yeah, kind of.
3 weeks and what?
3 weeks, not 2 weeks and a half, I think.
Uh-huh.
I went to Oaxaca to fire the cups quickly.
Yeah, we had some ceramic cups here and very happy that they were all bought the first night of the show. So sadly, they're not with us, so you can't see them, but we're happy that they're also not with us. And so Rosita mainly works with Black pottery, which is a very traditional classic technique based in Oaxaca. But she tends to start out with drawings and paper works, cut paper, as you can see here, automatic drawings as well, which are behind you guys. So I want to start with these questions, Rosita, or do you want to say anything first before? Do you want to present yourself in any way that I didn't just do right now?
No, it was nice. I think, thank you for coming. It's nice to seeing you, even with mask and digital stuff, which is really weird. But thank you for being there and being interested in all that. Thank you.
Yeah. So as I was sort of just saying with your automatic drawings and working on paper, you basically started out your residence at Fortuna with these pieces on paper, right? With drawings and automatic writing. And your relationship to dance and movement, moving your body, right? So can you tell us a little bit about this process of automatic writing, first of all, and how did you get involved with that tool or process?
The automatic drawing, well, I was telling a reel, which is, it's weird, but I guess when I was a kid, I used to pretend that I could write quickly so that I could like look like grown up. And then when I went to art school, like nobody really teach you or say to you that that way of drawing, it's also like a good example or exercise to like get your hand flow, or como, how do you say soltar tu mano? I don't know. But then I found out that it was very easily to me, like not copy nature, or making like a normal kind of drawing, or like like copy nature as it is, or to be like really exact with your drawings. And it was very easily for me to get a good like trace, and being more quickly than my head was, to not be like, to not think what I wanted to do, just like do whatever and get like a good result, good expression, and like feeling good with what I was doing. It was like not thinking at all about the end, or the ending of a good drawing. It was better for me to like go fast, and I just started liking the results, and like really not thinking at all was like what I wanted to do. Like not thinking or not worrying. And I
not
think
trying
that,
to copy any
like,
to document or to
yeah,
represent
no.
certain things that already exist, right?
And then I started to get involved with trance, and I started to do dancing, and I realized that I could like represent dancing like in ways of drawing in atmospheres, but not thinking about the results at all.
Mhm. Mhm. And does that help you make these other larger pastel drawings? Is that like a kind of a sequential process, or do you find
Yeah,
most?
I think it also, when if we go more technical, like it's really more intuitive to put colors on top of others without not really thinking if they're gonna combine or not, or thinking more about textures, and making like, like almost like mud or something, to be more rich in texture than worrying about having like a good I don't know, like a good trace of brush, or to be like more clean, because I'm very messy in everything in existence. But yeah, I think it's kind of like the same energy yet that I put in everything, because my mind goes fast, and I want to like end it fast and see quick results, and it worked for me, I think, to make it that way.
And doing that, working fast and getting quick results, is that also related to movement and dance and your body in your drawings, or is that how it comes out, or
I don't know how to make that answer well. I just think when you're in a process of a technique on dancing, when you're like making sequences or something, because I started to do Graham. I don't know if you guys know about Graham. It's a technique. Marta Graham made that, and basically they make like symbols out of the body, and every symbol is for an emotion in particular, and they work a lot with the stomach and with the chest, and with presence and with trance. So you make like a sequence, and you almost get in trance, and you stop like no thinking, like you get like in a trance situation, and your body just go faster, and they're all like symbols and movements and like lines with your hands. I don't know how to describe, or imagine a pirouette. You can see it like, if you like imagine that in drawings, you can like get an idea of what I mean. Maybe I don't know if I can explain myself very well.
like making the symbols? Well, do you feel like you're making symbols on paper, like similar to the symbols that you're making with your body when you do this?
Almost. I feel like a lot of like the symmetries, for example, are really look like bodies, or like very organical, very womanly, or very, yeah, very feminine in a way. They look like bombs, or like, yeah, I feel like they're really, I see them like wings, or like, yeah, symbol to organic shapes.
And with the automatic drawing, is that at all based on those bodily movements?
The what? Sorry.
The automatic drawings. Do you ever like dance when you're drawing them, or?
Mm, I think I get a bunch of papers, and I just like, like pass it and going, and I listen to music and I'm dancing, but not like in a specific way, just like being in there to, I don't know how, if you are, I don't know how to explain like the process when you're doing something um in change with the result. Like, it doesn't, for the artist, it's not really easy to share the process or how are you feeling doing it, but just the result. So I think like you're one person and one entity or one atmosphere when you're creating, that the result, it's like two different things or two very separate things. It's really difficult to share that emotions or that attention that you get when you're creating something.
And especially in the way that you've talked about, like being pretty intuitive about your practice.
Yeah.
To describe that.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the use of symbols, sigils, and working with forms in your pieces?
Yeah. Well, the symbols or sigils, it really came really easy to me because all my sketches and all that, they're like scriptures or some way, and I really don't think about the meaning or think about what I'm doing when I'm doing them. Is like when you make a doodle when you're like, I don't know, you're in a phone call and you're like making doodles without thinking that much, and then they absolutely look like a bestiary or something, and then I translate them to the symbols of the symmetries or the symbols of the pieces of the pots. And yeah, I don't really.
What did you say that they look like? Like the doodles, they end up looking like
Like an ambassador or like a scriptures or like all letters of some sort of somewhere. I don't know where. I don't think I don't owe them, or I don't know where they come from or what's the meaning of that. I will be lying if I say, oh, it's the mirror something, but no, I'm not really sure. They just come along really easy, and then I pick them up. Because my idea is that the less you have control of the things when you're doing them, maybe like you can connect with something else, which you don't have control of. You're just like a channel radio or something. It's just like you're vomiting stuff, and then you can save them, or you can just throw them away.
And what connections are there for you, or how do you transition from your drawings on 2D to your clay pieces in 3D space?
I think clay is a very kind material and a very organic way, very intuitive and very ancestral and very, yeah, the material went very easily for me since I was in prepa. How do you say that?
High
More
school.
like high school. Yeah. And then it occurs to me because I started making cups with faces. But then I was tired of doing that, and I wanted to, maybe I was a sculptor in secret, sculptora. Yeah. And yeah, like I don't know really how to, like, you get at the idea of, oh, this could be a cup, this can be a pot, it just came through easy. Instead of making a rounded one, why do you make 2 bombs or 3 bombs or like any of these symmetrical drawings can be a pot or can contain something. It was easy to translate him on the clay. It's a very kind friend. It's a body also,
I love the way that you talk about your ceramic pieces as vessels,
Yeah.
and what you have written in your, I think it's in your bio or something, and it says like you pour a liquid into one vessel and then you take that liquid from that vessel and put it into another vessel, which is your body, and
Yeah.
it's like vessels feeding another vessel.
Yeah.
I love
I think it's a way like an alchemical way of see like alchemical and romantic way of my way of doing stuff. Like I feel like I'm doing something that it looks like me in a certain way, bodily, but also when I'm doing it, I feel like I'm feeling it with something that I have. When you're doing something angry, like you feel it with that anger, and then you can take that anger and then maybe transform it to something else or maybe another emotion, not always anger, but yeah, I get angry a lot.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thanks for answering my questions here. Well, mine, there are Brill's questions, honestly. So thanks for answering two nice questions here. Um, and I want to open it up to any of you guys. If you have any questions about what you see around in this room or what Rosita was just sharing with us, like, or we can just have a chill conversation as if we were in the same space. But, yeah.
I was wondering what you thought about with not being able to be here in person and kind of the topic of this show, um, if that has any meaning for you, like traveling and the issues with travel, that feels pertinent.
I'm sorry, I couldn't listen really well. Yeah.
Do you want to repeat it?
No.
Okay. If these themes that we're touching upon in this show, like issues of travel and crossing borders, if that's pertinent to you, or if that has any importance to you and your work, or how you felt not being able to come here too.
I feel sad because I would have liked to be in the inauguration and like speak to people, or instead of doing this, which is weird, honestly. I was never, when you're like speaking your work without being there, like I did this digital thing to me is like really weird. Yesterday I couldn't even like turn on the camera really well. I needed help. But yeah, I mean, it's sad not being there for the visa, and that I needed to pay somebody to make the process really quick, or all the bureaucratic paper that you need to get into USA. And honestly, if I were to make it, it will take like half of a year to make the tramit and to see if you're able to be there or not. And yeah, and I feel like I was like not really like I wouldn't like to pay like a bunch of money to see if they allow me or not. And honestly, they wouldn't be allowing me because I don't have like any reason why to come back to my home unless my cat, like I'm not married, I don't have like a stable job, I don't have like a job, I pay rent, I don't own a house, all that millennial stuff that is going on. I wouldn't maybe let me, like, nah, this woman is gonna stay in USA and work or whatever reason. Maybe not, who knows. But it's sad. I would like to not leave Allegra alone, leave like doing all the things, and thank you, and being there, speaking to people, sharing processes, because I have friends from the United States, and I feel that you get a better or a kindly idea of what arts are. It's like a bit like you're more open to talk about art or to be more formal about the work. Like you being there right now, maybe it's very important. Maybe it wouldn't happen in Mexico that much. Um, yeah, it's just another way of seeing life, I guess. If you want to come to Mexico, you're welcome to see how things going on here, well there. And yeah, it's sad. But also I feel nice that I can go there on a different way, in a very different way, which is also very nurturing. That my pieces are traveling, but I'm not able to, but it's fine. Like they can go on their own. Yeah.
Thanks for answering my question and sharing your art. We wish you were here too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Rosita, aquí estoy. Hola, saludos.
Hola.
This is Maritza.
Es un gusto conocerte. Una pregunta que tengo, un question that I have, y tengo curiosidad, is with like the work that you were able to produce for like this show and what you're doing right now. I'd be curious to know, like, with like the discipline of art, what books are you reading? What are other like sources out there that like are inspiring you now and that te inspiró anteriormente? Porque eso siempre es algo que me llama la atención, que está leyendo los libros, que a mí obvio me encantan los libros. Nada más también te quería conocer y decir hola.
Hola, mucho gusto. Right now, I'm not reading anything. Well, no, I'm reading a weird book of an old book, I think, of how to make talismans or something like that. It's weird stuff. But also I also am very into symbolism, alchemy. It's not that I know a lot about it because I'm not able to finish a book like completely because I get distracted all the time. But yeah, I'm reading. I the Dallas. I'm really into that, the nonsense of life or whatever. What else? What else? In Oaxaca, there's a beautiful library called Yago, and there's a library. It's a library of arts, and you can go there, just lose yourself and pick whatever. And I like to see a lot of the sculptures from the 60s or images from the very ancient objects too. What else I'm reading? Yeah, so a book that I really like, that I often go into it, but for me it's difficult to read. It's Carl Jung, the alchemy, psychology and alchemy symbolism, I think it is the title. And I also read Chaos of Heikenberg. What else? Yeah, but I love Hilma af Klint, and the way, I don't know if you're interested about that kind of paintings, abstract painters, woman painters, but like old. I like old stuff. Yeah.
I feel weird, like just here on my computer. I feel bad that Abril isn't able to join us. We wanted to have Abril here so we could be full Fortuna, but something happened with her logging in, and
She couldn't be able to be here.
she's not able to be here right now, unfortunately.
Ni modos.
Hello, my name is Obed. I'm
Hi.
also glad that your art was able to travel all the way over here. I was curious. I heard you like saying speaking on like intuition and that some of these pieces you connect to intuition. I was wondering like at what age did you kind of like assure yourself that intuition is a thing, or was that like really early on or later? And yeah, I've just recently been like interested in about intuition. I googled it the other day, so that's what I'm curious about.
At what age?
Yeah, or like if you ever like doubted that intuition is a thing, or if you've always like known that you have connected to intuition to make this
Yeah.
piece.
I think it's a great question. I think I always doubted about the way of I could do stuff, like my own way of doing stuff. It was not like a correct way or non-way of doing it. And I always felt insecure about my way of doing stuff. And because nobody tells you use your intuition, like, or maybe now it's common, because we're getting more spiritual in life and all that. But yeah, I don't know, maybe since I was a kid, I was very, very romantic in a way, or I couldn't do math, or I couldn't, sometimes I think when you're a kid, you have that intuition, or everyone has that, and you're shutting it down every time because the world is really tough and really bad and really hard and very squared, and you have to do certain things in a certain way, and I guess I'm very how do you say terca? I don't know, like when you don't listen to what people is telling you you know or feeling like maybe it's a thing about being an artist, like not feeling that you feel in whatever you have to feel. But yeah, maybe since I was a kid, I was very weird or very into mysterious or very into feelings, people. But yeah, maybe it was always there. But there was a time that I was very insecure about my work and very not convinced at all that it was good or not, or if it was good enough, or if it was, correct, or that people would understand, or all that things, all that bad spider that is speaking to you all the time. It's also like your intuition is one thing, and there is like a big monster speaking horrible things to you all the time. So it's like not that voice, but this one that it says do whatever the hell you want, and really don't care about, just do it as you feel. So that's, I don't know if I answered your question a little bit.
Gracias.
Hi.
Hi.
Are also the paintings de ustedes, también los haces cuando como sin pensar, en automático con la técnica de WhatsApp?
The pastels? Yeah. No, I also do like, that was like, I don't know if in the video you can see that there's like a little like book on the beginning. I think sometimes the bigger things that I do come from a little space because I feel more comfortable doing sketches very, very little. And that little book I translated into bigger ones. And yeah, the symbols, like that was thinking that little book was think to be or used to, I thought it was gonna be a book, a real book, serigraphy or something. But then I don't know, like I bought 8 papers and then I saw that I had that and there were 8 drawings and I was like, oh, maybe it was for this, and I use it. I really didn't think too much about it. But that little book, I have it like from like 2018, I think, or 2000, yeah, 19. The non-thinking in those drawings, I think it goes when I fulfilled the capes of oil pastels and there's spray under all of that. So you can see a little bit of shining of the back of the paper, because the weird thing about oil pastels is that you can put like lawyers and you can still see what is behind of them a little bit. No puedo hacer más esto. Yeah.
La curaduría del espacio, like, how was it, like, were you like,
Allegra. we planned it a little bit, but then Allegra make the rest.
We're sort of in a constant like WhatsApp conversation of like, I would set a couple things up and then send a picture. I'd set them up on the floor and send a picture like, is this okay? She would say,
Yeah.
yes or no, that one's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how was the process of sending them? Like, what did you do? Like, how did you send them? Because most of it is paper, since it's easier to send. You also have some 3D, that's, I mean, like, how was it? Like, you make a package and send from the next.
I couldn't hear very well, sorry.
It's nice, it's a really nice.
They're doing construction like underneath us right now. I don't really know what's going on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
He asked, how did you send the pieces? Was it through FedEx or how was that process?
It was a special art delivery that Allegra found out in Mexico City. And I put them on a cardboard, and the rest, I don't know if they make it. I don't know how they arrived, but I put it on cardboard, like in like packaged with paper on paper. Yeah, I didn't fold them. They were like plain.
Yeah, these transparent ones were rolled up
Yeah, the transparents were rolled up.
and everything else was just, between like two pieces of cardboard. And they did a great job. The packers were really awesome.
Yeah.
And with your ceramics too, did they do all that packing for you? Or did you do
I
that?
didn't sell the packing. I didn't sell the packing because I was about to send them really bad. Like they would, maybe they made a box and everything, you know?
Yeah, they made a box and packed them really nicely, and I'm very impressed. There's
Yeah.
just like gave me this guy's contact earlier this year.
Yeah.
Shout
They were
out,
really nice.
shout out to Omar at Pac-Mail. I don't know what's going on with this construction here. Sorry for the hammers and the saws and everything. Adding texture to the soundscape. Anyone else have a comment?
I was wondering, as I see you have all these pieces and they are like kind of like, I could see the certain sections being named, but as individual pieces, each of them like have like how much of a meaning or kind of this each individual piece have? Do they have a name, a story of some sort? Yeah, I see that they're all kind of following this they're all part of this story.
The story.
And
Mhm.
what about the name of the characters? I guess that's the
How do you se salió algo?
Yeah. ¿Nos ves?
Sí. A story and characters. I just could hear like the last part.
So he asked like how do each of like the individual pieces work together, right? Like does one have like a certain kind of importance to it?
Kind of like the individual pieces of the puzzle.
Uh-huh. Like do each of these individual pieces have its own like character to it, or how do they all fit together? Each of these individual pieces of puzzle pieces.
Nice. Um, I think that all of them maybe come from a place, and sometimes I see the automatic drawings as sounds or atmospheres. You know, just like sounds. And the pieces, the symmetries are more like entities maybe, and the ones or oil pastels and pastels are complete ideas, which involve like complete noise and a complete symbol. And I put titles on the back, which I don't remember right now very well, but I wanted to send like a sense of an emotion for each, and maybe more than a story, I wanted to make like a place or a state of feeling in a certain way, which is contained or approved or loving or caring, or this always trying to figure how a symbol can hug a complete idea without being too much. It's more like a state of like a little window where you can like put your eyes and see, and you feel well, and what you're feeling like, kind of. I wanted to do that, but I don't know if you never know. Yeah, but yeah, I can get the idea of the story. It's a nice way to see it.
Are you talking specifically about the 8 pastel pieces with?
Yeah,
the-
all of them. The all pastels could be the atmospheres, complete ideas, the symmetries on your left, the could be entities, and the automatic drawings could be noises or atmospheres and movements. I think like that. Because if I try to connect it with the dancing thing, I wanted to make like, if you're watching a dance of things going on, if you're like locked up inside of the theater or something, when you're watching something, like it could be like different things of feelings around. I don't know if I make my clear. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hi, thanks for talking with us tonight. I'm wondering if you can just talk more a little bit about the ceramic process, and especially the black clay. Correct me if I'm wrong, Allegra, it sounds like it's a very specific way of firing to Oaxaca,
Mhm.
which is where you're from. And I'm just wondering if you can give us a little bit more information about how that happens and what the clay bodies. I mean, you don't have to get so scientific, but I know nothing about it. So whatever you can share, I would love to hear.
About the clay and the process. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the clay comes from a community that it's called Santa Maria Tzompa, and it's like 40 minutes from the center of Oaxaca, and that community has always been a potter community, and the way of firing there, it's wood firing, and the ovens are really ancestral, or it's like the most common way to fire a piece. And I think they found like the oldest Mesoamerican kiln was found in that community, so it has always been potter community. And the way of firing has been like a really weird, I mean, I like black a lot in objects and in clothes, but the firing, I think it's like I don't know if you're you know, this raku technique that is a Japanese, where they put the pieces out and they put like hairs or with the glazes. And I think in the 60s in this community, there was like a Japanese interchange in some sort of way that nobody wants to talk about, because the community has a lot of issues with sharing the roots of the technique, because there's only one family that makes it, and they're really famous for that. And they're only the brothers are the only ones that keep going with that technique, and the rest of the community makes another kind of clay that it's a red clay that it's not the traditional, it's a traditional one right now, but ancestrally it wasn't. It came with the conquista, with the conquer in the Spanish, and the, you know, the churches and all that, and the glazes. You know, we didn't have glazes before the conquer. And I think the black, it came from a mistake, because there's another community that it's called San Bartolo Coyotepec, and they make another kind of firing that it's not like the one that we're making, that it's a reduction technique. When you fire the pieces, which is low temperature, you pull the pieces out when they're really hot still in red, and we smash them or put them in woods or in organic things, and they get like impregnated with the smoke. And the hotter the piece is, the more temperature you get the piece out with, the more absorbs. Because it's really, you know, when you're hot, you're like, you want to expand, and when you're cold, you want to shrink. So it goes like, you needs oxygen. When something is really hot, it needs oxygen. So it comes like all the leaves, and that's how the black is going. And but yeah, no, not a lot of people make it the same way. Not a lot of every person in the communities learns, not from the school, but learning, you know, from their parents, or how do you say, this way of learning. But yeah, it's now it's very common because you're getting very famous because of that. And a lot of people is doing that kind of technique. And yeah, it's a beautiful process, but it's a tough process because there's a lot of smoke, and the wood, and the, you know, the clay. If you're not from the community, sometimes they're not very open to. You have to be very respectful about it, and like make a interchange of work or money, or, you know, like it's a whole thing. But it's really beautiful, and the pieces are really unique of the results, I think.
How did you get in contact with that community?
Well, I went to Oaxaca because a diplomado, like a paper something. And Oaxaca is very known because it has a long variety of ceramics and techniques and colors and earths and all that. And I started to look in all the different kinds of ceramics, and I want them to look old and or pre-Hispanic, you know, like an old object. And I found out these smoked pieces, and I went to look for them, and I worked with them for a time, and then I changed of workshop, and then started doing my own. And then now I work with another family, and now I just make one piece every 3 months or 1 month. I'm not very like very serious about it, about making a lot of party. I just make them whenever I feel like I want to, which is not good for my money situation, but but I don't feel like I need to produce a lot of pieces like every week. I don't feel like that. Maybe I run out of the question, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Owen.
I wanted to ask about like connecting to another entity, or like something else? Do you ever feel like you know what you're connecting to? And if not, do you ever like feel yourself like, I'm sure curious about what it is that you're connecting to, and at yourself like maybe sometimes like frightened or scared of like what it is that you're connecting to when you are like entering a state of intuition and connecting to love?
Yeah. I think I don't have like a specific entity. I think so. I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I think like there's different ways of like connecting. You know, you can like connect with different things that are like in some other worlds or whatever, or you can just I believe that we have like a internal world on our own in a certain way, and we don't really have control of if it's something in particular or is this entity in particular, because some people tell me, oh, you have like a very alien language or something, and I have never seen an alien, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure, but yeah, I just feel like being really honest with yourself and this intuitive and not thinking makes you like being connected with this world that everyone has in their own and your own language and you're a very abstract entity above this body. I don't know if that makes sense or if I get a lot of beer right now. But yeah, I just feel like it comes from a space, not really an entity. It comes from a space of creation. I think creation and love and your way of creating, it's always an entity. It's like its own. I don't know if I make myself clear. But yeah, it's not a specific thing. I think it's just a channel or just a like a state where you can be yourself very authentically, or because you're always assemble, or you always look for, I always get related with the same shapes in nature. For example, I always try to get into nature, and I think in nature there's an entity or an atmosphere that I always try to absorb or to get surrounded by it, or the feeling by it. I think that will be a good, like, I think nature has a lot of things to give us, more than leaves, or it's like a state, or it's like the way you feel when you're in there, you know. Yeah.
You talk about entering in trance, this technique. What are some of the techniques to enter in trance? Like, what's that you use? What's that exists? This trance to make that.
I couldn't hear. I don't know why when he speak the boom 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 hears.
Hablabas de las técnicas para entrar en trance, para hacer el arte. ¿Cuáles son unas de las técnicas que usas para entrar en ese trance o de las que existen?
Okay. Well, I think there are many ways of getting in trance, and there's a book about it. I forgot about that one. It's there are like many ways of getting in trance, and all of them goes through breathing and repetition and dancing, or music and breathing and repetition, which in ancient cultures, rituals and dancing are always give people another state of how do you say, another state of consciousness, or how do you say it? I think, yeah. And yeah, I think when you're doing something repeatedly and without thinking and breathing and listening to music or rhythms or certain music, or you can always lead yourself into in a state of focus, and that focus can help you connect it with something, like I said, like everybody has a world, and you can get in touch with whatever you have if you focus on it. Mhm. Breathing and repetition.
And what's the name of the book that you mentioned?
It's Symbol Sigils by Anton Wilson. Robin Anton Wilson. I don't know if I make it. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. And another way of getting trance is through sex, because always repetition and all that, and always is breathing, and always is mantra. Like when you repeat a phrase or a sound and you repeat it, like there's a very specific way to get in your subconscious, and it's by repeating things, but without being aware of really doing it. But when you get into that book, you see that it's really easy to get into your consciousness and put a sigil on it, and then I think I'm, yeah. See that book.
Awesome, thank you. We have like 1 or 2 last questions. Yeah.
I have more of like a comment or a reflection, but I really appreciate seeing the automatic drawings, especially them providing context for the rest of the works within the exhibition. I think of the theme of this exhibition talking about borders, and the works I see up here, like these automatic marks are really like universal language. I think that transcends like across borders, where you're putting a mark down on a piece of paper to create this language that I think as humans, like which is like speaking to the human experience, we can all relate to these, that then repeating these develops into your own language that is uniquely yours, that builds up like the sigils and the symbols. And I guess that's just a comment that I really appreciate seeing these works that allow me to like reflect and then connect the rest of your approaches to making and creating this visual language that is like very much uniquely your own.
That was a question at the end. I said I can hear very well.
The last comment at the end was, I just appreciate seeing these automatic marks that are very spontaneous, and like you're freeing your conscious mind, right? Like you're exposing the unconscious or subconscious mind to then more consciously make the rest of the works. That's your, that's specifically your language, and I really enjoy that.
Thank you. Thank you. I still don't know if there's an answer, but thank you for the comment.
Well, thank you guys all for being here. We're just like right at 8 o'clock. As I say that, it turned 8 o'clock. So I don't think there's any questions here, no. But yeah, thank you all again for being here. Thank you, Rosita, for being in.
Thank you for participating, everyone. It was really beautiful to me. Very meaningful. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here and being part of Fortuna. And even though it's not
Pleasure.
how we wanted it to be, we kept pivoting and made it work.
Yes, thank you, Allegra, for everything, for hosting. Great host. Thank you.
Well, we'll be in contact soon, you and I, but also everyone follow Rosita. I have her Instagram written up there, and she also has another page where she shares mainly her ceramic pieces, but you'll see that on her Instagram bio. All of this artwork is for sale, and yeah, help me not have a bag full of paper when I go back to Mexico.
Especially that paper, carry all that paper.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Rosita. We'll be in contact soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night. Bye. Love, love, love to all.
Bye.